If you're looking for the cheapest and most reliable Madden 22 coins on the market, check out my sponsor, MMOEXPR.com. Links are in the description, and use code JEDI at checkout for 5% off. Alright, hey there guys, Adrian Picasso here, aka Jennifer95, coming at you guys with another video. So in this video, guys, I want to talk about the best abilities, in my personal opinion, on current gen. Now, I'm going to split this up into two videos because I'm going to talk about current and, not current, offense and defense. You know, now that I've been on current gen, I feel like it's appropriate for me to make a video like this on what I think are the best abilities on this game. Obviously, I've played next gen, and then now I've swapped to current gen, just to, you know, because, yeah, it is what it is. But in my opinion, these are, the best abilities on current gen. So we'll start with the quarterback position like we always do. And for quarterback, guys, I think the best abilities for quarterback, obviously Gunslinger is number one. Like, obviously, if you can afford Gunslinger, you pick up Gunslinger. But I personally am not willing to pay 6 AP for Gunslinger. Even though it is a very good ability, I'm not paying 6 AP for Gunslinger. I think it's too much, in my personal opinion. So that's why I rock Passly Elite, which I still think is a very good ability. I still think you can do work with Passly Elite. I literally have done it since I got this Russell Wilson card, and even before then, when I had Jalen Hurts, I actually dropped from Gunslinger to Passly Elite, and I was doing just fine. So it is what it is with that. But Gunslinger and Passly Elite are really, really good. I definitely would recommend you give one of those a try, if not both, if you can. Obviously not at the same time. Long Range Deadeye, I think, is really, really good. I think it's one of the best Deadeyes, if not the best Deadeye in this game. Sure, it may not give you a good accuracy on the short passes, and that's true, but, you know, perfect accuracy on deep throws, working in the pocket and on the run if you just let go of right trigger, kind of like roaming Deadeye. It has a roaming Deadeye effect, where you just let the button go before you throw the ball, and you get an automatic perfect pass accuracy every single time. You know, it works like that, and so all that for 1 AP, I think is incredibly good, especially with, you know, passes being, like this activating on passes that are only 15 yards downfield. It's not even like that far. You can work with 15 yards, even like, yeah, 15 yards. Like, you throw a deep corner route and it activates, right? You throw a deep corner, or you throw a deep cross, or a mid crosser, like, it works just fine. So I like a long range Deadeye. I think it's very, very good. Next one I think that is really, really good is Threat Detector. I think it is pretty good, especially going up against those Mike Blitz 3 guys. But the only problem I have with this is it works on second and third and fourth down. If it acted like Blitz Radar to an extent, like, say, for example, you know, if your opponent calls the same blitz every single, like, I think personally, if your opponent calls the same blitz 3 or 4 times in a row, they should activate on every single down. So that way you can just be like, okay, yeah, here's the blitz. Let's make an adjustment, yada, yada, yada. So I would definitely do that for Threat Detector to make it a little bit better, but I think Threat Detector is still a viable ability. I just wish it was 2 AP on offensive linemen, because it costs 3 on quarterback. It costs 2 on improviser QBs. There it is. It costs 2 AP on improviser QBs, but it's 3 AP on linemen. I think it should go down to 2 AP on offensive linemen. Escape Artist is not that good on current gen. Don't get me wrong, it's still good. You can still use it. Like, you can still use it and have a noticeable difference between, you know, having Escape Artist and not having Escape Artist. But me personally, I have found in my playthrough on current gen that Escape Artist isn't necessary. Like, you don't necessarily need to have Escape Artist. It's not broken beyond belief like it is on next gen. Current gen Escape Artist is, you know, it's actually toned down, and it's actually properly balanced in my personal opinion. I just wish I could say the same thing on next gen. But there is that. Quick Draw, obviously I would only recommend Quick Draw if you cannot get a quarterback with Gunslinger or Passly Elite, but at this point, basically any quarterback can get Passly Elite or Gunslinger, so there's really no ever point for Quick Draw. Roaming Deadeye I still think is very good. You know, even on the short passes, you know, if you're just throwing, like, you're running out of the pocket and you're just throwing, like, say, for example, a slant downfield, it is what it is with that. Dashing Deadeye I would never recommend using, even though I was very high on it last year. I personally think on improvisers, they should be 1 AP, because, you know, this has a yard thing, like up to 40 yards. I think this is fine. And I think Dashing Deadeye for 1 AP on improvisers. Just for that. Hot Route Master obviously is still very, very good if you want to use Hot Route Master. I don't think there's a reason you shouldn't be able to use it, especially if you can afford it on your team. Now, I am personally not a Hot Route Master guy. However, if I'm given an opportunity to use a Hot Route Master quarterback, I will definitely use it. Because I did have Dan Marino at one point in time, although I'm just, like I said, I'm just not a Hot Route Master guy. Never really have been much of a Hot Route Master person. Fearless, I actually do think this is the most underrated ability in this entire game. Especially on current gen. Pass rush gets home a lot quicker on current gen than it does on next gen. So I really do feel like Fearless could be a very good ability to use on current gen. Giving you making you immune to defensive pressure while in the pocket is very, very good. The only downside is obviously once you start getting the high throw under pressures, like you see with Russell Wilson here, he has 94 throw under pressure. Once you start getting to that high throw under pressure rating, that's when it starts to lose a lot of its value. I think, if I remember the deep dive correctly for the video I made a couple of weeks ago, I think it's about 95 throw under pressure is when you start to, be, very resistant to pressure at all times. So I think, Fearless is good, but if you got a quarterback, I would only recommend, honestly, for immobile quarterback, you have guys like Tom Brady, you have guys like, say, Peyton Manning. Even if you really want to use Peyton Manning, I don't really think that's a bad thing. If you're just a pure pocket passer, you just love standing in the pocket, stepping up, and hitting a deep pass downfield, if that's your jam, then go nuts. But I would only recommend it there for those type of quarterbacks because it is 2 AP for field generals. It is 2 AP on them. So that's it for quarterbacks. I actually spent 5 minutes talking about quarterback abilities. That's crazy. That's why I decided to split it up into 2 parts, guys. But for running backs, I think for power backs, obviously, running backs for abilities is all archetype dependent. In my personal opinion, the best running back ability is Bulldozer for power backs, and Tank. I think Tank and Bulldozer, especially Tank in this game, a lot of people love to hit stick, which makes sense because there really isn't much of a weight detection when it comes to hitting people. Because when you go to hit people, like, you can drop Derrick Henry with a small cornerback like DJ Reed. Like, if you get a good hit on him, you can drop a Derrick Henry with a small corner. And Tank will break those hit stick tackles. And so having that type of a little bit of, I want to say, shield, give or take, which is weird because it's a shield icon, but having that little bit of extra protection can help slow down the hit stick spam and make it so that way your opponent has to conservative tackle, and your opponent doesn't want to do that because they want to lay a hit stick and get a fumble, right? So I personally love Tank. I think I'm going to try and look to put Tank on in the next AP update, whenever that is, be it this week after the Madden Bowl or next week after the Super Bowl. I'm going to look to add Tank on my team. Even if they just bring it up by 2, I could just cut a mid-out elite on Charlie Young and cut my mid-out elite on Charlie Young and put Tank on Sean Alexander, and then we'll go from there. Recuperation, I find, actually is not that bad on current gen, especially if you have a running back that you like to put in as a workhorse back that sees a lot of your snaps. I think recuperation is pretty good, even on a mobile quarterback. I think it actually could be very good because obviously stamina in this game is not as good as it is on current gen or on next gen. Stamina on that game is basically like everyone has like infinite stamina some days. It's just ridiculous how lack of punishment you can get from, the stamina drain. But recuperation on current gen, I actually do think is not a bad idea. Also, you have your running back apprentice. Obviously, running back apprentice is just amazing. Having 1 AP, giving all running back all additional out routes. I just cannot recommend that enough. Backfield mismatch. I would rather put this on elusive backs. I would put this on elusive backs or receiving backs if you have a hot route master quarterback, because then you just have to worry about getting the better catching and route running. But backfield master obviously is king. I think it should go up to 2 AP personally because, quite honestly, like, it's 2 abilities in 1, so it would make sense. Jukebox, I would highly recommend to your elusive backs. I would not recommend spin cycle though, wherever it is. I would not recommend that because it's an ability, like, spins are already really good in this game. Even on current gen, spins are still really, really good. So you don't really need to have spin cycle. I think, jukebox is fine. But that's it for abilities for the running backs. Now for wide receivers, there's a couple of abilities that I do think really stand out. First, obviously, is Route Tech. I do think Route Technician is just the best ability for wide receivers in this game. And obviously you want to get it on route runners because it's 2 AP for them. Another ability I think is very, very good, obviously Deep Out Elite. Not only does it work on catches, but I've actually seen it work on breaks. Like, if the receiver, especially on current gen, if the receiver's route breaks, like, in that specific time area, like, for example, if the receiver route breaks on a mid out, like, say, for example, let's say you're running a deep out route. Like, let's say you're running a out route that goes 10 yards and they break on the out route. It lights up like it's a route tag type of thing. So I actually kind of like that. I don't think it should be a thing, though. I think that should just rely on catching only. But it breaks on those routes, so that way when you do get downfield, you can break those for deep, like for deep out. Obviously, it's glitch, so you can break in on those deep in, deep out, short in, short outs, mid in, mid outs. Slot-o-matic definitely is good on slot receivers. However, I just wouldn't recommend it personally on any other archetype but slots. Wide receiver apprentice obviously is just incredible value. 2 AP for hot routes anywhere. I just think it's incredible value for your receiver, obviously. Slot apprentice, I would only recommend it on slot receivers because of the EA's stupid ideas for the AP change. Playmaker, I have not run into a playmaker on current gen, so I could not tell you if this is good or not. For those of you that do play a lot on current gen and you have used playmaker, let me know how it plays, because I have not played with a playmaker on current gen. So there is that. But another ability I would recommend personally, now I'm going to get off Jerry Rice and show this on Brandon Marshall, is Matchup Nightmare. I've actually seen it work a lot better on this game, on current gen, than I've seen on next gen. It basically acts like, from what I've seen, a 1 AP route tech combined with all of the in and out elites. Like, it breaks very easily on those routes with Matchup Nightmare, and you can get that extra catch boost, right? So I would recommend only on physicals, obviously, because it is the 1 AP on them. But Matchup Nightmare on physical wide receivers, I think it's just incredible good value. This ability for 1 AP, better route running and catching versus linebackers. And even on cornerbacks, too, I've seen it work. Safeties, I've seen it work. Safeties subbed in at sub linebacker do count as well. So, obviously, there is that as well. But for Matchup Nightmare, I think it's just incredibly good value. Tight ends, I think, just deep out elite is really good. Although I have mid out elite because I do have my Charlie Young with mid out, because I do find him running a lot of mid out routes. So I decided to put mid out on him. So there is that. But for offensive lineman, for the last portion of this video, we're talking about offensive linemen. So with offensive linemen, in my opinion, there are only 2 abilities that are really good enough for your offensive lineman. The first is Identifier. Again, just seeing your opponent's user is just so much value. Getting an idea of what they're doing pre-snap with their abilities and their coverage. You can just see pre-snap what they're doing. Like, if you see a bunch of deep route KOs and whatnot, okay, they're calling Mike Blitz 3, and they're just going to play man coverage across the board because they have no testosterone. If they are playing, a single high safety and using a box safety or box linebacker, then it's like, okay, they're playing a cover 3. If they got 2 high safeties and they're playing, the deep, playing 2 high safeties and they're playing a deep safety, then they're playing cover 2 man, right? They're playing 2 man under. So it is, it can give away the defense. However, I would just personally say, if you think that's game breaking, then just play different defense, you fucking bum. Like, stop playing the same shit over and over and over again. And then the other one is Edge Protector. It is so much better on current gen than next gen. The Edge Protector is just it's just so valuable, especially going up against edge threats. I have not seen too many edge threats, though. I don't think a lot of people really run edge threat, which I think is a bit of a shame, because on current gen, I'll talk about it more in my next video. But on current gen, edge threat is just so dominant. You can't really get too consistent a pass rush unless you have an edge threat or 2. But Edge Protector is a great counter to it. Having better protection versus elite pass rush for elite edge rushers, I think is really, really good value, especially being at 1 AP. And then the honorable mention is going to go to Post Up. The only reason I think this is an honorable mention, I don't necessarily think it's totally good on current gen, is 2 reasons. 1, I've not played with it yet. And 2, I don't think it should be 2 AP. I don't think there was anything wrong with it being 1 AP. Personally, I think it should go back to 1 AP, although I wouldn't be upset if they didn't change it, because I can understand why they did change it, because it was taking over it was really good, especially if you just put 1 on your center. It was really, really good. So Post Up, I think it should change to 1 AP, but I don't think it's going to stay that way. But Post Up, getting the good double team blocks, especially if your opponent doesn't send more than 3, it doesn't send more than 4, like, you can get a good double team block, especially if you put it on your center. You can prevent a good rush up the middle, and if you can just step up in the pocket, you can't really get bull rushed. If you step up in the pocket a lot better, you can get around those edge rushers, especially if you have Edge Protector. You can get around those edge guys, and then you can find your receiver down the field. So I do like post up. I do think it should be they're probably going to experiment it with it more once the next AP update comes, when I have the ability to add an ability or two, because obviously right now with the current situation with us, we're really in a chokehold when it comes to AP. Like, there's so much I want to try, but I obviously can't. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you really care for X Factors, quarterback, honestly, it's all just pick whatever. Like, quarterback X Factors are also good, like Pro Reads, Omaha, Bazooka, Blitz Radar, if you really feel that way. I personally think Blitz Radar should be used more often, but I think it should be 3 scrambles for 10 yards on comp settings, not 5. I think that's a little much. Truz, Freight Train if you feel like being a weirdo. All of it's good. Wide receiver, I think Yak 'em Up is fine. And then, obviously, for running back, I think the only one that's really good is Freight Train. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and hit the like button if you guys did. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.